What you got anything on that?
So remember, they Farrakhan too. Gaddafi tried to give Farrakhan some money. What did they tell him? Remember what they told him?
Right. They said if you take that money, you're gonna be an enemy of the United States, and they say that or something like that. To that,
they said they didn't have no problem with him getting the money, but he had to register as a foreign agent.
Okay, go ahead.
Operating in the United States.
Go ahead.
Right? That would immediately put him at odds with the corporation because we already foreign to the corporation on our own land.
Go ahead.
If you let it be known in the public that you foreign to the corporation then can actively pursue war tactics to bring you down, as they did with Malachi.
That's right. And Jeff Ford.
Yep. Jeff Ford was set up by the CIA.
Yep. With a rocket launcher.
They all of that was orchestrated by the United States, including the meeting facilitated with the Libyan assets. Was all orchestrated by the CIA with the intent to charge Jeff.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Mm-hmm. They already knew what his views was because it's cassette tapes to this day in Chicago floating around of him speaking.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so now all they have to do is facilitate a connection that they can use as a means to prosecute and persecute the man as a criminal, even though he in state system, he in the federal governmental system.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Mm-hmm. And they came in and with cold crackers.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They put cold crackers on there to try to figure out how to make code out of the things he was saying.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so they made, whether it was code or not, I don't believe it was code. I think they used the cold crackers to create a common theme in the conversation by things that they classified as code words so that they can paint the narrative that they was talking in code.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's using it in reverse, right, to establish something that you're trying to establish.
Mm-hmm.
So the CIA asset, all he got to do is allow Angel Bay people to make the connection with the Libyan people, and he ain't never got to be seen.
Mm-hmm. Damn.
Right? So they facilitate the link up, and when the link up take place, then the FBI come in and sell them some bum rocket launchers.
That's right.
And now they can bring them all down as this terrorist cell when all of the time Angel Bay is supposed to be on the streets lobbying the tribes in order to overthrow the system. And they knew this.
Right. Right. Another thing too, I saw they did with Jeff is that once they got him on when he in prison, when they was running this, when he locked up,
the whole thing was done while he was already in federal prison.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, man. I know that with Larry, I know that they got him for so it's like this. How can you get around that when Jeff, they say, oh, he the leader of the Peace Stones, or he the leader of these guys, and like the Meanham brothers wasn't banging them but more science. They had phases and shit on, and so you already know the game, you know what I'm saying, going back with Noble Drew Ali. But my question for you is how do we retract and get justice for the racketeering itself? Because they said that, okay, Doc was money. Like I looked up the racketeering and saw what all covers. It's a whole bunch of shit that can cover under that. But one thing, they tried to go out there and say that he was money laundering. Now I said to myself, in order to be money laundering, you got to have some making money a criminal way and then try to clean that money up, right? So, Doc had a lot of books. He was selling his books. And they tried to say that Doc was he was late on his taxes or something. Come to find out, he overpaid his taxes. He overpaid his taxes. So I'm still trying to figure out how was they able to RICO him? With they didn't even have no RICO case really. They didn't even have nothing on this guy. Like, what did they have on him besides what the crimes that people that was a part of his organization, like Damian Pryor and Lopez and Jacob York and these guys? They got shit on these guys. They didn't have nothing on Doc. They didn't, like Big Meech. They didn't even see Big Meech never selling no dope. They even said it. They admitted to it. They said, we ain't never seen him selling no dope. We just saw him count money and like
flashing.
Yeah, and flashing. We ain't never seen them do no legal activity, but make money.
So look.
Go ahead.
You gotta remember, the only thing that RICO has to do is establish you had an enterprise. That's racketeering right there. If the enterprise is not under the control of the U.S. government, it's automatically classified as a criminal activity.
Wow.
The only remedy we really have is enough of the tribes people to become aware of the fraud. And when we hit critical mass, nature takes its course and corrects everything. Right? We almost if we ain't at critical mass, we damn close, because the theater that's playing right now in the public as politics and entertainment is all mirroring what we already seen. Right? Diddy Red House mirroring Baba on the Blue House. Right? Diddy was doing Diddy stuff, and you have to have the innocent fall in order to keep the guilty afloat. If the innocent begin to be seen, then the wicked begins to fall. This balancing of the scales. So when you speak up for the one who was doing the righteous work, and then you don't say nothing at the fall of the one that was doing the dirt, it balances it out. I don't have nothing to say about nobody that fall. I got something to say about everybody that's been done wrong. Right? So when we looking at, it's so much stuff going on, like the using the cover of the storm to cause mass casualty events. Right? That's not new, but we have to see everything we've seen going in that we see coming out. But it's the mirror flip. It's the same but different. And it tells you the length of the cycle when you see it. That's why you have to be perceptive of the symbolism of the event, of the character being played, and the story that's being woven, because now you can see where you at coming out of a cycle. Right? So we had to close out the old age in order to initiate the new age. Right? We do certain stuff that's unorthodox in order to put the word in the public domain. Right? When I was making that video about the DURESS defense for Larry, right? That was called a catalyst event because nobody's ever brought it up in court that he was holding the position as the leader of the gangster disciples under duress the whole time. Pull up DURESS defense. That's what you do. Because once you understand how it works, I can't kidnap your child and say, if you don't rob that bank, I'm going to kill your child. And then when you get caught and they find out that you done it to save your child's life, they can't prosecute you for that. You did something against your will. You was forced into doing something nefarious in order to save somebody else. That's part of self-defense, the right to protect yourself and others.
Hey, I got another question for you, Raw. Because I'm writing them down as we go. Do you believe because Johnny Cochran, he was able to get Geronimo Pratt, I think, off because they had the FBI COINTELPRO had knew that he wasn't in that city during the time of that robbery or whatever or what it was, and so Johnny Cochran was able to get him out, I think.
It
Now,
took him 27 years.
yeah, he did 27 years, and they found out that he was innocent. Now,
They knew he look.
the
They knew
government,
look. This is why Johnny Cochran took the case pro bono for 27 years. Johnny Cochran was his defense attorney at trial.
oh,
Geronimo Pratt was set up because he was coming to teach the tribes how to protect themselves using military strategies that he learned in the military.
right.
He said his elders sent him to California to teach them. He didn't even want to go, but he went because his elders sent him, because he had a tribal skill that the other people in the tribe needed. The police committed the crime that Geronimo Pratt was accused of. They knew this because it was a joke in the sheriff's department, because they were sheriffs, they wasn't police. And it was like a locker room joke about how they set up Geronimo Pratt. And it ended up leaking out of the locker room into the lawyer circles that got back to Johnny Cochran while Geronimo Pratt was fighting this case. So now they locked Geronimo Pratt up. They didn't care about how long they kept him in there. They just wanted to prevent him from teaching and training them tribes this military stuff before they can have an opportunity to plant those seeds of dissension and make those colors clash.
With the Crip and the Blood stuff.
Yep.
Hey, another thing. Say,
So,
do you? Oh, go. Finish what you're saying.
so when you look and you read the description of Geronimo Pratt case, go back and read the description of Big Tookie case. It's gonna look like you're reading the same case. And I'm gonna let that stand where it's at.
Yeah, I'm gonna go check that out, man. When I'm doing the collations, because I'm doing Young Elders Law School, man. Y'all check out that playlist, Young Elders Law School, man. We breaking stuff down. This is my next. I mean, this is part that go with that same question. Do you believe the government took Johnny Cochran out because he was working with,
Yeah.
he got,
They used they used what's called microwave technology, a beam microwave. And every time he came out of chemo, they hit him with it again to make sure that the chemo don't work.
right? I believe that too with Rod Kardashian too. I believe with Kim Kardashian that he's working with that on that same case. He died a similar way as Johnny. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
My next question I got for you, Rod, is on the RICO. I noticed when I started breaking down the RICO and studying it, that even if you found innocent after the fact, so if, like, we was to get Baba out, and because we got all this evidence already, but when we was to get Baba out, they still keep the shit, keep the proceeds in all his land. So how did that work? How does that work? How did they do? I'm innocent. You robbed me, and I just got to bite that after the
Because
fact.
in their system, even if they took something from you, and you get found later on, your case get overturned, they say he was guilty, he just got it overturned on technicality, so we still ain't gonna give him his stuff back.
Damn, these suckers is crazy crooks. I mean, they hide. I mean,
If we can't see the crookedness of the system, we just totally blind to it. A lot of people was so accustomed to the uniformity of it in the way that it flows that they think it's legitimate. Police wear uniforms, the firemen wear uniform, the police, the dog catcher wear a uniform, the mailman wear a uniform, right? It's the uniform system. The uniform system is derivative of the uniform commercial code, right? In the Uniform Commercial Code, it makes mention of the corporations employees being dressed in a uniform manner in order that they may be recognized, right? If they're not in uniforms, you don't recognize them as part of the corporation. Therefore, you don't honor their jurisdiction, right? If they told you that if you was coming from a different city, you had to check in with the chief of police in the city you go to, nobody wouldn't put up any resistance. But if they tell you to check in with the check-in chief, everybody think you up to some shenanigans. But the check-in chief was the legitimate person responsible for your welfare once you enter into the new city. But we don't remember the culture, so we look at that as being belligerent because it's not sanctioned by the uniform system.
Hey, so with this Diddy thing, do you think they just take trying to the Rico Diddy to rob him pretty? Do you think they just trying to rob Diddy because it's a lot of stuff they saying like the baby oil and this and that, like they don't even like some people say oh it wasn't baby oil, it was some kind of drug, but they promoting the baby oil thing, and they say, oh, he got guns with serial numbers fried off. I don't believe it because I mean, Diddy got too many people around him that's legit that he can pay to be armed. So like to have it's like a lot of stuff I think they just threw in there to promote in the media pro tactics to say, oh yeah, he had guns and baby oil. You know what I'm saying? And then I think it's a black hand trying to rob this brother. I mean, even though we know Diddy might have been doing his freak offs and nasty parties, I'm talking about, I think this overall is the government, these black hand laws of London. He did piss somebody off that's at their high table, or and they trying to just rob this brother using the Rico, man. What you think, Rod?
As long as it bring down Clive Davis, Jimmy Iovine, Larry Cohen, and all other them rotten ass executives,
Right.
his purpose is served no matter what they doing.
I feel you on it. I like
That's
that.
why he said, I run this city. Tell the cops, DA, the feds, come get me. And if you try to leave me for dead, you coming with me. Because that's their MO.
Right.
We forget about it was a brother from Wisconsin back in the 80s who, this is the origin of Pizzagate, by the way. It was a brother who was a speaker. I think it was the Democratic Convention, like 83, 84. And he was a child trafficker. And he was using political connections to funnel children, little boys specifically, into DC for those politicians to have those illicit parties with $5,000 hot dogs and $2,000 slices of pizza. Right? The code was revealed in the Barack Obama administration, and because they were still using the lingo that the FBI was following. This is why the Hillary Clinton emails, the Podesta files, and the Hunter Biden emails were so critical to the fall of the deep state in DC, because all of their codes is on there. And a lot of that stuff is on the dark web, and some of it is even on the regular web in the public domain. Some of her emails, like the Benghazi situation, where her and Barack Obama was deciding whether they was going to do something or not. He ended up going to a fundraiser and she ended up going to a book signing or some dumb shit like that. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was something as simplistic as that, while you got a whole U.S. embassy under attack.
Hey, Rod, my next question I got for you is diplomatic immunity, because this ties into what was Doc case and things and other. I'm just looking into that diplomatic immunity.
Right.
With diplomatic immunity, how does that work? Like with the RICO and in connection with the U.S. Corps, like where people can't be tried for certain crimes over here. Like what immunity do you have as a diplomat over here under the in U.S. Corps? system. Go ahead.
A diplomat pretty much have a free pass in the foreign land to commit whatever crimes they want to, right? But the problem is certain diplomats can be kidnapped by the host state, and the host state can put up a prolonged resistance to the international claim of diplomatic status and say that we don't know nothing about it, what they call plausible denial. So the host state would be like, I didn't know he was no diplomat. What he doing over here if he a diplomat without me knowing? They was like, well, you got all the paperwork. I don't got no paperwork. But all the time they got the paperwork. They know who he is. They know where he at. They know what he doing. They know what he ain't doing.
Damn.
Right? Now remember, as an organic to this land, even if you get diplomatic status somewhere else, you still classify under the United States corporate as the enemy of the state.
Right.
Because the state itself is the enemy because it's de facto. Anybody that's de jure, which is a lawful heir to the land, walking around on the land, is an enemy to the de facto corporation because they have jurisdictional right at any given time to read Article 77 of the Iroquois Constitution, grandfathered in, and cancel the Constitution of the United States and close the corporation because we know how to run government now. Anybody that get close to that, like Malachi was so close to it, all he had to do was turn around and trip over a law book, and there it is in his face. Right? And now, because of what he had built up, he had the capability of exercising the jurisdictional supremacy and putting in the public domain Article 77 of the Iroquois Confederacy and canceling out their rights to do business on the land for violating all of their treaties, violating the rights of the organic people of the land, violating the treaty agreement not to cross the Appalachians, and all of that.
That's right.
Everything they did was a fraud on us. Fraud vitiates or cancels or nullifies all contracts. And their whole contractual system was predicated upon the discovery doctrine. The imbecility was predicated upon Papa Bulls, right? The only way to prove otherwise is to assume your proper person or your proprietary persona and assert your jurisdictional claim in the public domain as the pretender to the throne. And as you go about informing the people of who you are and what you're doing, you garner support of the organic tribes who recognize the tribal tradition of the grid to tell the stories of what happened to the people of the land and why they ain't got their proper just on their own land. Because you have a foreign corporation masquerading as your government, a certain jurisdiction over you, because you don't know that the proper jurisdiction of authority lies with the tribes, and therefore you don't support the tribes because the government told you they was gangs. And they vilified the word gang and implied criminal activity when the word gang is another word for tribe. And they don't tell you that part in order to keep you deceived into thinking that the tribes is criminals for tribing on the land. Right? Which goes back to the commission of the government of the corporation to put bounties for our scalps. They wasn't looking for straight hair. They was looking for wool.
Right? Go ahead.
Originally, they was taking our heads, but it was taking up too much space in their trading stations when they was cashing in for the people of the land that they killed. Go back to the violent bloody oath of the papacy. Right? They say the agreement was to kill the kings, the princes, and the people of the land. Why would they do that? That's the only way you can claim the land is the rightful heirs to the land has to either acquiesce, surrender, give up, which we ain't gonna never do, or you have to win it by conquest and assert your proper claim at the close of the age. They fail to state a proper claim that's superior to the jurisdiction of the tribes. So now you go back to the FEMA continuity of government document. FEMA don't work for the U.S. no more. They work for the tribes. They can't be activated until the tribes activate them. But they keep putting all of this dirt on the name FEMA under the pretense of failure to perform so that they can say that the tribes is not ready to receive government back because they can't even run FEMA.
Damn. Hey, I got another question for you, bro. We're gonna get ready to get off. We got about we'll just do it for about 2 hours. We got about less than 20 minutes. Like I ask you this question. Now I did some research on sovereignty, and I hear people. I used to hear back in the day when I was in moral science class with under brother Joe Els Bay. He used to tell me, man, don't call yourself sovereign. Don't call yourself sovereign. I used to hear him say that, but I never did really just look into it until just recently on really understanding what sovereignty was about. And because I hear people say, oh, we organic to the land, we sovereign, so this and that, right? So I looked at the word sovereign and come to find out it's a legal fiction. It only exists inside of U.S. courts. The sovereign, it only exists inside of the system. As you only can be a sovereign in the system. Like outside of the system, there's no such thing. Besides, now then the other thing too, and I'm gonna let you respond. The organic people thing. Cause I hear people say, "Oh, we organic people." When I went to go look up organic people on international files, there's no such thing as an organic people. It only say indigenous people rights, or indigenous this. It don't say nothing about organic. It never even mentions the word. Only time it mentions the word organic is talking about vegetables. Now it could be some higher axiological thing connected with people and vegetables. I can get into that, but I'm saying they only, when they in the court files, they only refer to, when you say on that, when I look up the word organic, it only comes up as plants and vegetables. As far as like stuff on agricultural violations, there's never a mention of organic as far as a people. The only word they mention of they mention the word natural in a certain way, but it was really indigenous is the word they use a lot. So what's your take on the sovereign being a legal entity? Because they say that sovereignty is a legal entity, a legal fiction, and a fiction is, it's made up shit, artificial. Go ahead.
If you go to Google and type in sovereign law, it's going to tell you that it's the law that's by royalty. The sovereign is the royalties of any land, and they identify under the Uniform Commercial Code as being outside of the jurisdiction of the codes. When you go to the laws that the American corporation follow, they follow the United States codes, right? You have to get out of the jurisdiction of the codes and the statutes. Statutes are underneath the codes. Statutes is the Chevron doctrine. It's the corporate's body able to issue statutes in order to govern its internal workings. We've been classified as the internal mechanisms under the statutes that they govern by being citizens. Citizen is, you have to be registered as a citizen in order for the corporation to have jurisdiction over you. You don't register to be a sovereign. You born sovereign, owing no debts, right? And having no debts owed to you, right? But when you in your sovereign capacity, you can operate from a position called universal law, which overrides contract law. You can't exercise universal law until you figured out how to become a sovereign or a royal persona in order to issue edicts. And you have to issue the edict from a superior legal jurisdiction, as in the case of natural law, which is the laws of nature, and universal law that applies beyond the earth. Once you operating from universal law, now you operating from fifth dimensional mind matrix, the spirit realm, because you outside of what the naked eye can see with universal law. It also is the laws, what we call hermetic laws or hermetic principles, are universal laws. Wherever you go as a three-dimensional being, the three-dimensional construct will apply until you learn how to apply a superior jurisdiction or a higher construct of laws, as in the case of universal law, right? Complements natural law, but is belligerent to contract law. The laws of nature is belligerent to contract law because most of the nature. So when we talking about sovereign capacity, we talking about a capacity as a royal persona to issue edicts from the position of a power seat or throne. When you talk about organic, it's a new term. So it won't be quantified by the old system. When you're making a reference to the organic people, you're making a reference to the people that was there from the onset, uninterrupted in the steady flow of genetic inheritance from mother to daughter, mitochondrial laxy gene, the immortal gene. So now when you say organic, that means you emerge like the vegetables, like the trees from the ground that which you walk, this holy ground. And this is why all our ancestors are buried here, because this has been sacred land for us since this was Atlantis.
Hey, so the American Indians would be GMO, and we would be the organic, and they would be GMO. The American Indians, they genetically modified. Hey, this is the next question I got for you, Rod. We almost out of time. Hey, y'all hit that like, hit that subscribe button if you want to show brother Rod Hayes some love on the Cash App. I dropped in the links for the people that was asking about it. They said somebody said that Rod, they sent you some money, but you didn't accept it, so it didn't go through. So you like,
I get shadow banned on Cash App too.
yeah, me too. So hey.
So if people be messaging me talking about, did you get the money I sent you? I don't know. I can go look, but a lot of times I get it. A lot of times, sometimes I don't. Like I don't let nothing just sit there and don't respond to it.
Yeah.
That means that they had to either went to the wrong Cash App or Cash App put it on the back burner.
Hey, this is what I got for you, Rod. This is a powerful question right here, man, because we're dealing with jurisdiction, and we're dealing with wars of the state, and we're dealing with federal jurisdiction, state jurisdiction. We know that. So, what gives them jurisdiction over you, and how deep does this jurisdiction thing go, man? Because if you under federal jurisdiction, state jurisdiction, U.S. corps, I mean, how do we get around this jurisdiction thing? Do we unplug?
The only way around it, the only way around it is for us to go back to the tribal traditions, grandfather us in, and use a superior jurisdiction that brings their corporate system to an end. Because until we in power, they in power. And as long as they in power, they gonna torture us every chance they get.
I noticed some too, Raw. There's another question tying in with that question. I noticed that back because you said that all crimes were commercial, so I did research on it and did a tape on it called Crash Course on Commercial Crimes. Y'all want to go check that tape out on the video side. I said that all crimes commercial. So technically, a state court is not. It's technically not supposed to be dealing with subject matters when it come down to commercial crimes. But I think this what's happening is based on my research is that we don't know, so we just going in there and let them proceed with whatever they got going on, and it's pretty much criminal enterprise because we don't know. We just go in there and let them proceed and don't challenge jurisdiction on subject matter. Like the first time you go, you're gonna challenge jurisdiction on subject matter because he can't even hear this. This magistrate can't even hear this subject matter because this not even the proper venue for the subject matter. So,
but that's a whole, what's it called, voir dire in court, where you have to stand there and banter back and forth legalese to the judge. And this is why most of us don't challenge jurisdiction, because they have so many means by which to deceive you into accepting a jurisdiction, right? If they arrest you for a crime, what's the first thing they do in the courts?
adjudicate. They're supposed to give you an indictment. They're supposed to give you an indictment.
When they first take you into the court, look, the police arrest you, take you down, fingerprint.
A hearing.
What kind of hearing?
Bail hearing. Is it a bail hearing?
It's called arraignment.
Arraignment, yeah, arraignment. Go ahead.
Okay. In the Michigan court rules, this thing that they doing is called joinder of the parties for civil action. Their whole system is predicated upon financial distribution of the trust. When they say all crimes are commercial, they mean they all have a monetary value to the judiciary. Right?
What they call it a charge.
Right. So the charge is a financial instrument. Just like they go to the, they got a price tag on stuff in the store, and when you get to the register and ring it up, they tell you what your final charge is. That's what they do in court when they give you all them count 1 through 99.
Go ahead.
And you get convicted on count 1, 12, 13, 14, 22. So you get convicted on 5 different counts. It reduces your overall charge when you cash out at the sentence. It's trickery in the first degree.
I'm telling, this is crooks like no other, boy. You if you ain't up on the game, like Mark Brady used to say, man, you go in their courts and you ain't up on the game, you about to get served. You about to get served, man. And
so look,
go ahead.
Their system is in the Bible under the tribes of Judah and tribes of Levi. Their system is a levy and lien system. Levy is spelled L-E-V-I, which is the tribe of Levi. Lien is an anagram for enlil. Right? So when they telling you whose system it is, you have no clue what they talking about. So how do you expect to defend yourself when they talk an entirely different language? All of the judges have to be accepted as an honorary member of the tribe of Judah. Because in the court setup that they give them is right there in the Bible. It's Leviticus and Judges, I believe. They tell them exactly how to set their system up. Right? That's part of a commission from Rome, because you got to remember, the Bible was not put together in America. It wasn't put together in the Middle East. It was put together in Rome. And they use different source information of the day. The Acts of the Apostles in the so-called Gospels are excerpts from a play written by a guy named Josephus Flavius. Josephus Flavius studied the first century Christian philosopher named Origen in order to create a story that became the controlling narrative of the Roman Empire in order to reach into the future. You have to go back to why Constantine said he's establishing the church to understand that it was a tool of control to begin with. And that if the judicial system is set up like in the Bible, that means it was set up by Romans. So the Old Testament was written after the New Testament to create a backstory, right? And they had different writers who was writing all of this stuff in order to give it what they call optimum effect.
Yeah, they stole the Samaritan tablets and a book of ancient Egyptian Book of the Dead. They plagiarized those books to create that backstory.
Yeah, the Jesus story is in the Holy Drama as the rise of Isis and Horus, the
Yep.
return of the
Yep.
rightful heir to overthrow his uncle. Go
Yep.
back to Noble Drew Ali. He said, "Be careful, because your uncle will sell you into slavery." It's in the oral statements and prophecy. What is he talking about? Right? And I think Elijah Muhammad said something similar. They warning you about Enlil kids, the ones Yaqub left in charge, because he wasn't going to see his creation through. And how he going to make them to rule over you? By illusion. Right? And go back to the Rothschild, make everybody a worker doctrine, where he tell you about the harsh treatment, the same thing that is saying in other documents. They all tie together.
Hey,
Right.
bro, this is the last question, and this is a powerful question because I'm gonna be talking about this too. I just want to hear what you got on it. Now, I noticed too in this system, you know, they pull you in this artificial system, but to do it, most time they need you to sign your life away. They need you to agree about, like, because I know when you join the Masonic laws, they say, do you come on your own free will? When you join all these other satanic organizations, you come on your own free will. Now with the signature, and because they I noticed their whole system is based on contracts, and they got to get you to agree, whether it's verbally, whether it's a verbal signature, or they got to get you to sign your name. How important, or how do we avoid their system as far as the signature, and how's our signature? What do you got on the signature thing? Because I noticed that's how they pull us into this system with our signature.
How do you make a deal with the devil?
Sign on the dotted line. You know what I'm saying?
It answers itself. Because if the devil needs your consent to do devilishment to you, when you sign on the dotted line, anything he do to you is under your own free will, because you signed the papers to prove it.
Yeah, so most of them brothers, go ahead. Most of them brothers that be going to court, man. Like I remember my cousin when he came down here from New York, right? He was from New York, and he had been up in New York all his life. That was his first summer coming down here to Louisiana, right? And he was talking all this stuff, right, about man, about the court, all this stuff before I got on it, right? About the how to it's all commercial and this and that, right? And what I was trying to figure out is, how can you, like, if you speak up for yourself and click your heels 3 times and all that, like even if you go to their systems, even if you go to their system, to their courts, and you know the game, how do you, and they don't listen to what you're saying, or they override what you're saying, or we ain't hear him, we ain't hear what he said, he challenged jurisdiction and all this, and how do you beat that? Like, how do
Look,
you get
you
it? Go
got to
ahead.
remember, you got to remember, they already hostile to you. You don't
Mm-hmm.
beat it.
Mm-hmm.
They gonna impose their will on you, but the
Mm-hmm.
thing is, later they gonna have to rectify it because you never consented or agreed to their jurisdictional authority,
Mm-hmm.
right? But you have to know what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Most of these people send people in the court half cop, and it blow up in their
Yeah,
face.
yeah, yeah. Facts, facts.
You know, as long as their system is operational, they in power. We not in power until they system fall. Until they system fall, you just have to try to avoid them at all costs. And don't sign no contracts.
So technically, the people that's in Florence, Colorado, really are prisoners of war.
At 100%.
Yeah, Doc, J. Ford, they are prisoners of war.
Yeah, but
Even
you
El
got to
Chapo,
remember,
even El
you got
Chapo.
yeah, but you got to also remember this: just because they a prisoner of war, don't make them less of a prisoner,
Right, right,
right? So they not gonna give a prisoner of war any air for freedom, where he can continue whatever it is that they thought was belligerent to their system.
right.
Their system is not designed to do anything for us. They told us that in the Dred Scott case.
Damn, that's a fact too. That's a fact.
So if they system, if we don't have any rights they bound to respect, then we have to come together in sufficient enough number to exercise our rights in unity to overthrow their jurisdiction.
Mm-hmm.
You have to overthrow the beast on top of you. You can't tickle his belly to get along with him because he don't understand that.
Mm-hmm.
All he understands is I'm gonna swallow you whole first chance I get. And that's how he try to maintain his illusion of power.
Mm-hmm.
The power comes from the consent of the collective.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as people participating in all of these psyops, like the political paradigm and the entertainment paradigm, and that's the number one thing trending,
Mm-hmm.
you ain't ready.
Mm-hmm. Right,
You
right.
ain't ready. You got a whole bunch of people talking about they want to be free, but they really not ready,
That's right, Rod. That's the truth.
right? Because if they was ready, they would realize that go home, sit down, take your ball and go home, you win. But they want to participate. They want to be in the middle of it. They want to referee the bullshit. I don't
Right.
want to be nowhere near the bullshit, right? You
Man.
can't referee between two shit slingers
Right. You gonna get some shit
and
out of
expect to keep your clothes clean. You're gonna be smelled just as much like shit as the ones that were slinging at each other.
you. Right. That's
You don't go into the bullshit arenas. But you can't
right.
tell us that because we love gossip too much. Gossip has more control over our community than actual news.
Yeah. Yeah.
In anything that's gossip worthy, we gonna ride that shit to the last juiciness is out of that gossip.
Right.
And then we gonna bring it up when some new juicy gossip come up to remind us of it. Keep you in them cycles, feeding that energy so they can suck the loosh off you. Victim mentality. Long as you stay the victim or trying to victimize people, right? You can't oppress somebody, hold somebody down unless you down there with them,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? You can't get from under the oppressor if you scared to get his shoes dirty
Mm-hmm.
because his uniform is cute.
Mm-hmm.
The uniform is verification of the fraud.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, Rod. We got to be at the 2 hour mark, man. I'm about to take it, leg it down. Hey, but yeah, we're gonna come back, man. I'm gonna get more research on this and on the RICO, and we're doing other stuff, looking into all the Chiefs cases to see where the United States corporation did fraudulent, and we know it's fraudulent all over Docs, all over Larry and Jeff Ford case. We know they framed these guys. Everything is it's all like it's just simple, like it's just out there, like it's clear as day. You know what I'm saying? So we trying to just
Look,
get the public to see it. Go ahead.
look, if our rights mattered at all, it wouldn't be so many people innocent that they don't want to let out of prison, that they know is
Right,
innocent.
right, right,
It's a whole lot of people in prison and they believe because they there, you can't be innocent. That's not true. But I was locked up with a dude in the county. I think he was like 22 years old, and they
uh-huh.
pinned a 23-year-old murder based on the pistol he had. He couldn't have committed the murder. He wasn't born yet. They knew this. They knew he, even though he had the gun, he couldn't have committed the murder. He wasn't even born yet.
Damn,
But he
they
stayed in
look.
there fighting that case almost 2 years before I left him there. in
That's a
Cook
that's
County.
God, oh boy.
They kept giving him continuances because they didn't want to address the issues, knowing that he's not possible. Video. I did a whole Tupac video. So if you need me to tag you in the Tupac video that I did, it's about almost 3 hours long because I was going that way. I was dropping it because y'all don't know who y'all are. It's hard for y'all to know who we are. And so I had to expose a lot of stuff. The Tupac video originally I had to take it down because I almost got somebody killed. I had put it up a couple days prematurely, and the elders told me I had to take it down until the person that was in danger was secured. So I took it down and went on about my business. And next thing I know, they say, okay, put the Tupac video back up. So I put it back up. And it got a lengthy explanation about it. So it's called Tupac Decoded. And it's there. It's the full thing. It ain't just Tupac. See, it's Eazy-E. I can't wait for y'all to see Easy. Little squeaky ass voice. And it's B.I.G. Oh, you thought he was dead for real? I ain't gonna get all off into all of the living dead celebrities, because then I have to tell y'all Michael Jackson named David, and that he hiding out from the Jewish Defense League that's trying to kill his ass. And they took all his money to keep his daughter Paris from having it. But as soon as I get done kicking these motherfuckers in their ass, I'm giving her all his shit. I'm giving her all his shit. See, he surrendered it. So he can't get it back, but she can take care of him. When he faked his death, he surrendered it because he didn't do the paperwork. The same with Prince. Prince did the paperwork, but they stole it and hid it and said he didn't do a will. He didn't need a will, because the way that he did his paperwork, he didn't do it according to the modern judicial standard. He did it according to a higher order. So whoever he designated that his stuff gonna go to, once I get done moving this shit around on Earth, they gonna all end up with what he had earned. You're not gonna be able in the future, if a man earns something, you're not gonna be allowed to take it from him. You won't be allowed to deny somebody what they rightfully earn. Yep. Yep, Chanel, you've been with me a long time too. You one of my OG sisters. No, that video. Look, I know where the money at. I know where Tupac put the money at. I know where Biggie got his money at. I know where Easy got his money at. I know where Nipsey money at. If I know where they money at, you think I can't know where the fuck the niggas at? Because their money is easier to hide than the nigga. Tupac is in California. He left California and went on trips around the world, but he ain't never stopped living in California. He told you right in the song. I heard a rumor I died, murdered in cold blood, dramatized. Pictures of me in my final stages. You know, mama cried. That shit was fiction. Some coward got the story twisted, like I no longer existed, mysteriously missing. Then he turn around and he tell you, while you on your grind, motherfucker, I'm on my California grind, nigga. We ain't hard to find. I'm right here. Hard to find. He told you right there in the sun, right before your very eyes, you won't even realize you can't see me. He been there all the time. I got you on my Tupac video. You know, if you go back, he got a song called Everything They Owe. And in that song, it started off, imagine if you can go back. You can go back and talk to the ones that came over on slave ships. the very first niggas to come over here. And then he started off, he say, back for everything they owe, no longer oppressed. So now we overthrow those who placed us in this rotten mess. But let's see if we can agree on our strategies, right? And pick our enemies derived from our own kind we ride. So which one am out there? All right, bring me in. I'm almost done with this. And he tell you right there, you're coming back for everything they owe. Black people talk about reparations, but we're not eligible. We're not eligible because white people ain't did nothing to require them to repair us. Black people did that shit. Niggas put them motherfuckers there as pawns. They just something for you to look at so you can't see the real enemy. Nation of Islam been telling you all the time who the real enemy is. They said the white man, the devil, he was made by Yaqub. Yaqub wasn't white. Yaqub wasn't white. What about the goddamn black devils? Forgot about them? That's where the problem at. Look, I got a song inspired by Tupac I wrote. It's called From Nigga to Gorilla. I'm gonna give y'all these bars. This how we gonna end this with these bars. They call my speech the raw truth on the street. Platinum lines heavily laced with these platinum beats. Delivery gangster with the power to teach. Like a doomsday prophet when I start to preach. Open your mind and I'll touch your soul. Platinum back gorilla with a heart of gold. Hand pick initiated, platinum back gorilla. I used to run the streets like the average nigga. A natural born killer like Dre and Ice Cube. Little wild motherfucker breaking society's rules. The tools I used was these lefts and rights. Turn parties about the rules every Friday night. But then I learned to write. I educated my mind, converted these prophecies to some hard-ass rhymes. Read the signs, come warning the fire and brimstone. Studying secrets, still keeping the chrome. Ready for combat in the midst of war. Good against evil, trying to even the score where these demons be seeking the upper hand. Snatching souls of black folks, women and men. Struggling in a world to raise these niggas and give them military minds and call them gorillas. From nigga to gorilla. That's how I do. That's how I do. They call my speech the raw truth on the streets. Platinum lines heavily laced with these platinum beats. Delivery gangster with the power to teach. Like a doomsday prophet when I start to preach. Open your mind and I'll touch your soul. Platinum back gorilla with a heart of gold. From nigga to gorilla, avoid the destruction. We lose black life for a little bit of nut. Make something of your life in this world of sin. No matter how bad it gets, shit come to an end. My friend, if I call you nigga, that means you still a slave, a blind motherfucker in search of an early grave. These streets is prayed with rich African blood, milk from slaves that was America's crutch. While these rotten ass sluts prostitute the truth. They only promote the corrupted to speak from the booth. From nigga to gorilla. That's how we get down. From nigga to gorilla. Transformation is what it's all about. It's about moving from being a victim to standing on your own, in your own power with motherfuckers that feel just like you. You don't submit your will to nobody. You either agree or you disagree. If you agree, you stand on that. If you disagree, you stand on that too. You know? You don't supposed to agree with everything that everybody bring to you, or else you would be a sorry mop. So yeah, Mizell Scapegoats was actually correct on that. So I'm just like I got this one tagged with them sisters walking down to the ocean to wade in the water. There's a song, wade in the water. Wade in the water, people, wade. The old gospel song. That's what it's talking about. It's African in origin. There is a particular body of water that you need in 10-year increments, and you need at least 2 centenarians, women, to do it. You start at a girl under the age of 10, one between 10 and 20, all the way up to 120 years of age. So you're gonna end up with 12 women. And they gotta, all of them gotta come together, and they have to be in a particular place in South Africa. And when they get there, there's a particular body of water. It's called the Yoni of the Earth. It's the vagina of Mother Earth. And all 12 of these women have to do daily rituals until all women involved have that menstruate, has had a cycle in the water. And so I guess it's in the modern world, women hit menopause around 40. So that's like maybe 5 women that will have to go through the duration of their cycle. But the kicker is they're gonna all sink anyway. They're gonna all come on their cycle at the same time. But they all have to wade from the elder to the junior that haven't reached puberty yet, have to wade waist deep or deeper in the water. And they have to, do this several times a day as a cleansing measure for the women that's menstruate. But they actually, what they're doing is from the menstrual cycle, they are feeding the womb of Mother Earth life. They're feeding the womb of Mother Earth life, and this is going to start to heal the deserts. And it's going to start to make it rain in dry places, and it's going to start to make forests return, because Earth is losing her fertility because the women who used to perform the rite have all been annihilated by the oppressor. And all of the priests who you teach the rite, it's only one left, and I can't say who it is because they'll kill him. But there's one that know how to teach this rite because he know the history. And I have to have a high priestess request his assistance. I can't do it, right? I can't ask him because of my gender. It has to be orchestrated by a high priestess. There's a lot of them around. And here's the kicker. Who write? Christians, pagans, Jews, Muslims, Buddhists. They all write. All of them. But they're not all the way right. They all have some of the puzzle. And they all have some correct information. But no single source is going to give you all of the information you need to ascend. No single source. And we draw the parts that we're supposed to use from where they are. It's all there for a reason. Sahara used to be a plush forest, but they blew that collider up in the Mediterranean, and we had to cover in the crater by rerouting the Nile.